And will the Supreme Court take the side of parents in a case that could have national implications? Nicole Neily is the founder and president of Defending Education. She will join us to talk about the landmark case. She's here next. Supreme Court appears poised to side with parents in a case where LGBTQ books have become part of a Maryland school district's curriculum. David Spunt is live with from Washington, I should say. He's got more on that for us. Hi, David.
Hi, Sandra. We'll see what the high court does. They have until typically the end of June, early July to make a decision. But this is a case that in many ways is more about parental rights than it is religious liberty, although some of that is there in the background. In a fight over parental and religious rights, the 9 Supreme Court justices waded into the classroom at issue whether Montgomery County, Maryland should reinstate an opt-out policy for parents who don't want their children, some as young as kindergarten, learning from books containing LGBTQ and other controversial themes.
It has a clear moral message, and it may be a good message. It's just a message that a lot of religious people disagree with.
Now, one of the picture books mentioned the story of a prince and a male knight who defeat a monster and fall in love. Grace Morrison and other parents suing, arguing that the opt-out policy was removed in 2023 without notice. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson suggesting the court's final decision could affect more than just the curriculum on paper.
What about a trans student in the classroom? There's a student who's in the class. Must the teacher notify the parents of the student's existence and give them an opt-out to not be in the same classroom with this child?
No, and we've never said that there's an independent right to be noted for schools to anticipate what parents might object to, but when parents know something, there could be a sincere religious burden.
A final decision is expected by the end of June. Sandra.
All right, David Spunt in Washington on that for us. David, thank you. John?
All right, Sandra, let's dig deeper on this. Nicole Neily is the founder and president of Defending Education. So the conservative majority yesterday in the hearing seemed to signal strong support for the parents. What took a lot of people by surprise, though, was that Elena Kagan maybe wasn't as staunch as the conservative members of the court, but she certainly seemed to be sympathetic to the parents. Listen to what she said.
I, too, was struck by these are, young kids, picture books, and on matters concerning sexuality. I suspect there are a lot of non-religious parents who weren't all that thrilled about this, and then you add in religion, and that's even more serious.
So, do you expect there to be a 7-2 decision here?
I am cautiously optimistic that, yes, they will rule in the family's favors. As much as outlets like NPR might want to imply that this is a very, very vast argument decision, this is just, should families have the right to opt out, religious families in particular, of which obviously we have a very strong tradition in this country, being able to say, I'm not comfortable with this. And the fact that there have been so many families that have objected to this curriculum in Montgomery County, I mean, hundreds of families of all faith denominations, really speaks volumes that this is the hill that the school board chose to die on and say, absolutely not. You know what? No, over our dead body, you will not be allowed to remove your child from this classroom.
You were pointing out while we were in the break that Greg Gutfeld said it last night that Montgomery County School Board has done something that nobody else ever could do, and that is to unite Muslims, Jews, and Christians all over the same issue. Justice Alito wondered if maybe the venue for discussing these books, or at least reading from them, could be changed. Listen to what he said.
Why can't this all be put? We're going to read Uncle Bobby's Wedding and these other books, but we're going to read it during a period of time that includes the health class, and children are already able to opt out of that, so they can opt out of reading these books.
So he says, well, why not put it in health class? But the hill that Montgomery County Public Schools has decided they're going to die on is that this has nothing to do with health. This has nothing to do with sex education. This is about literacy.
Yes, and we have seen, sadly, districts across the country insert gender ideology into every single aspect of curriculum. Math class, I mean, using word problems that use they, them pronouns to normalize that. Reading, science, history. And it does, I mean, in the Montgomery County case in particular, it really highlights that this goes down to very, very young ages. Kindergarten, pre-kindergarten. I mean, those are 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds. These are children who still believe in the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. And so Wise Public School District is determined to rip a child's innocence away with our tax dollars behind our back is really a slap in the face.
You mean the Easter Bunny's not real?
All that candy's on sale now.
I'm shattered. So Randy Weingarten of the American Federation of Teachers was on with Martha yesterday. She said something quite surprising because she seemed to be sympathetic with parents, but then she also took this turn that this issue does not belong at the Supreme Court. Listen here.
Once you get a case like this, where parents are uncomfortable about what is being read to their kids in a classroom, this is something that has to be dealt with in a local level, not in the Supreme Court. I think that this will be shocking to you. These would not be the books I would be reading as a classroom teacher to kids who are 4 to 6 years old.
That was an unexpected position that she took there. However, on this idea that this should be solved at the local level and not the Supreme Court, the parents tried to solve it at the local level, and Montgomery County Public Schools said go pound sand. So where else were they to go?
Right. The district, let's remember, the district removed its opt-out policy behind closed doors, blocked families from actually even getting into the public meeting. Bethany Mandel was one of the people who filed a lawsuit against that, which is astonishing. I mean, let's remember, there has been tremendous consolidation of school districts over the past decade. In 1919, there were about 140,000 school districts. Today, there are about 13,500. And so you look at a district like Montgomery County, $3.5 billion budget, over 200 schools. Of course, this small school board is going to look at families who come with their impassioned 2 or 3 minute speech and say, we don't care what you say, because after Janice, places like Randy Weingarten, teachers unions actually made a conscious decision to run for school board to get their initiatives through. And so, sadly, when the local level decides to violate families' religious rights to raise their children, we do have to seek remedies at higher levels.
Indications are there may be a smackdown coming from the Supreme Court. We'll see. Nicole, good to see you again. Thanks for dropping by.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.